Has anyone ever truly laid bare the profound truths of life after 80? Stepping into your ninth decade isn't just another birthday. It's a profound, often quiet metamorphosis that remains largely undiscussed. We're not talking about the superficialities, the candles on a cake, or the leisurely mornings, but the deeper, more intrinsic shifts. It's a tapestry woven with threads of accumulated wisdom and profound loss, vibrant presence and stark distance, serene peace and at times echoing solitude. And if you're not primed for these seismic internal shifts, they can land with disorienting force, leaving you to ponder, why was I never told? In this exploration, we'll journey through 5 unvarnished realities of existence beyond 80. This isn't an exercise in fear-mongering or melancholy. It's an offering of clarity. For when these truths are acknowledged, they lose their power to ambush. You gain the foresight to prepare, enabling you to confront them with an inherent strength rather than bewildered surprise. We'll examine the diminishing circles of connection, the physical vessel's altered capacity for recovery, the creeping embrace of necessary dependence, society's subtle tendency to overlook, and that peculiar ache that surfaces when lingering regrets encounter an abundance of time, yet a deficit of redefined purpose. Remain with us until the very end. While some of these insights may feel weighty, they simultaneously unlock a potent pathway to acceptance, profound resilience, and the invaluable opportunity to sculpt this final chapter of life with a dignity that is yours and yours alone to define. Let us unveil what truly unfolds after 80 and how you can navigate this terrain with open eyes, steady resolve, and an unwavering spirit. 1. The quiet erosion of your social landscape. One of the initial, often startling realities that confronts you beyond 80 isn't physical. It's profoundly relational. The constellation of individuals who once illuminated your world begins to dim, frequently without obvious herald. Cherished friends depart, familiar neighbors relocate, siblings grow hushed. Even lifelong confidants who once marked your week with regular calls now reach out every few months. It's not a personal slight, it is simply the inexorable march of time. Yet it carves out an emotional void that can feel unsettlingly hollow, regardless of your inherent resilience or independence. You awaken one morning to the quiet realization that the phone no longer chimes with its former frequency. Invitations, once plentiful, become sparse. Family visits, though still warm, grow shorter, more hurried. Your loved ones remain devoted, but they are consumed by their own lives or distracted or grappling with their own unique experiences of aging. Gradually, the myriad daily exchanges that once infused your life with a symphony of voices and laughter begin to dissipate, leaving behind a subtle, pervasive quietude. This phenomenon is rarely a topic of preemptive conversation. In your 60s, and even your 70s, your cohort largely remains intact. There's a palpable energy, a vibrant dynamism, a constant exchange. But after 80, an undeniable shift occurs. You begin to outlive your peers, you start to outpace the shared narratives. And this transition is so understated, so gradual, that initially its profound impact might evade your notice entirely. I recall an 84-year-old gentleman, Walter, who for years maintained a steadfast ritual at his local coffee shop. The staff anticipated his order, his friends converged without a prior call. It was a cherished rhythm. Yet as seasons passed, those friends ceased to appear. Some had passed, others moved. A few simply stopped driving. One somber morning, Walter confessed, "It's peculiar to enter a place where every face once recognized yours, and now you're merely the man in the corner booth." The ache of this particular loneliness isn't always overt. It seldom manifests in tears or demonstrative grief. Sometimes it's simply the protracted silence after a meal, or a solitary walk that feels a little too still. It's the piercing realization that the intimate circle of those who truly know you is inexorably shrinking, a tide you cannot stem. However, confronting this truth empowers you to act. You can unearth new avenues for connection, even as others recede. You can proactively nurture your social bonds, be it through a faith community, A consistent luncheon, a phone call you initiate, or even the heartfelt simplicity of a written letter. For after 80, genuine connection rarely seeks you out as it once did. You must actively pursue it, and that, my friend, demands courage. But having journeyed this far, that very courage already resides within you. 2. A body that no longer harmonizes with restoration. Upon reaching your 8th decade, your body ceases its subtle murmurs. It speaks with resonant clarity. Minor discomforts, once transient, now tend to persist. Fatigue, previously banished by a brief nap, may extend its shadow into the following day. The truth that blindsides many is this: after 80, even seemingly insignificant health anomalies can radically alter your daily existence overnight. You might awaken feeling entirely well, embark upon your routine, only for something to feel amiss by evening. A fleeting imbalance, a persistent ache in a limb, a cough that stubbornly overstays its welcome. Suddenly you find yourself in a sterile waiting room, encountering terms like monitoring, advanced imaging, or potential admission. What once yielded to simple rest now demands rigorous attention, and often a full return to your former baseline proves elusive. What renders this stage particularly arduous isn't solely the physical discomfort, but its inherent unpredictability. You can adhere meticulously to every guideline: nutritious diet, gentle movement, adequate sleep, and still perceive your body as an enigmatic entity, dictating terms you never consented to. A minor stumble on the stairs can predicate weeks of arduous recovery. A common ailment can deplete your reserves for days. Even when a measure of recovery is achieved, things rarely revert to their exact prior state. Your equilibrium might feel subtly altered. Your breathing might require more conscious effort. The effortless bounce back becomes a relic of the past. I once encountered Gloria, an 81-year-old woman of remarkable intellect, vibrant activity, and fierce independence. Her joy resided in tending her garden, traversing her neighborhood, and engaging passionately with her book club. Yet a seemingly innocuous fall while pruning a rose bush irrevocably shifted her world. It wasn't just the injury, she reflected, it was the aftermath. Weeks of mandated rest morphed into months of diminished strength. Her confidence, once unshakable, began to waver. I envisioned a temporary pause, she confided, but my body interpreted it as a definitive halt. That is the profound realization rarely articulated. At 80, rest is not always universally restorative. Without mindful engagement, it can paradoxically usher in a period of decline. And sometimes, even with every precaution, your body elects its own pace of deceleration. You grasp that you are no longer rebounding, you are instead adapting forward. Yet within this stark awareness lies immense power. You begin to judiciously honor your energetic reserves. You cultivate a wise pacing, not born of fear, but from a profound respect for the incredible journey your body has sustained. You approach health not as an assured state, but as a daily, almost sacred practice. And when you embrace this perspective, even if the youthful spring is gone, your footing becomes immeasurably surer. Your stride may slow, but your awareness deepens. Your periods of rest lengthen, but they are imbued with conscious intention. And you begin to perceive that even a more deliberate body can still be the steadfast vessel for an indomitable spirit. 3. The inevitable ascent of the need for assistance. Regardless of your lifelong commitment to self-reliance, one of the most challenging truths to assimilate after 80 is this: you will gradually require assistance for tasks that once felt instinctual. This isn't an abrupt transition. It infiltrates quietly, subtly, until one day, the pattern becomes undeniable. You find yourself bypassing the highest cabinets. Your grip on the stair railing tightens imperceptibly. You hesitate before navigating traffic on a rain-slicked road. And while a part of you still pulses with capability, another acknowledges that certain endeavors are no longer effortless. What renders this reality arduous isn't merely the physical recalibration. It's the profound emotional reverberation. For those who have dedicated decades to nurturing and supporting others, the prospect of becoming the recipient of care can feel deeply unsettling. A nascent sense of being a burden might emerge. Or you might begin to conceal your limitations, foregoing grocery trips, omitting details of a minor stumble to your children, attempting to replace a light bulb independently despite weeks of shoulder discomfort. The fervent desire for independence does not wane. If anything, it intensifies. But the nuanced truth is that independence after 80 assumes a different visage than it did at 60. It isn't defined by absolute self-sufficiency. It is rather the wisdom to discern when to solicit help and the profound courage to graciously accept it. I knew an 85-year-old man named Eugene who personified self-reliance. He had survived war, nurtured 4 children, and single-handedly constructed his backyard shed with naught but salvaged wood and sheer grit. But one winter, he lost his footing on an icy driveway. No fractures, merely a wounded pride. He kept it to himself. Yet his daughter sensed a change. She began to appear weekly, bringing groceries and lingering for coffee. Initially, Eugene resisted. "I'm perfectly capable," he'd assert. But with time, those coffee sessions evolved into a treasured ritual. Eventually, he confessed something that astonished even himself. "It's comforting not having to bear every load alone." That is the transformative shift. It signifies not frailty, but profound wisdom. The understanding that embracing assistance is not a relinquishment of independence, but an astute strategy for its preservation. For when you permit another to aid your ascent of stairs, or drive you to a medical appointment, or carry a heavy parcel, you are, in essence, gifting yourself additional years to engage in what truly matters most. And not all aid originates from human hands. It can manifest as a grab bar in the shower, a well-placed stool in the kitchen, a digital reminder on the refrigerator. These seemingly minor adaptations do not diminish your dignity, they safeguard it. After 80, the most valiant declaration you can utter might simply be, "I could use a hand." For the deeper you progress into life, the greater your strength is revealed by prioritizing safety over stubborn pride, peace over relentless struggle, and genuine connection over solitary isolation. 4. A disquieting tendency to be rendered invisible by the world. One of the more poignant realities of life beyond 80 isn't about physical deterioration or cognitive decline. It's about your very presence. Gradually, subtly, you begin to perceive yourself as unseen, perhaps not by those who cherish you, but by the broader tapestry of the world. The cashier's gaze glides past you to the next customer. The physician addresses your adult child rather than you directly. The server in a restaurant presumes you cannot hear, think, or articulate your own preferences. It commences as a faint echo, then intensifies into a recurring resonance. And even if you attempt to brush it off, it settles deeply within. For irrespective of our age, the fundamental human desire to be seen, to be acknowledged, persists. When you've lived a life rich with purpose, having toiled, raised a family, navigated complex decisions, weathered countless storms, it's jarring to be casually dismissed simply because your skin bears the creases of time or your hair has surrendered its color. What intensifies the sting is the knowledge that this oversight is seldom born of malice. It stems from a hurried world that neglects to recognize the weighty narratives carried by measured steps. It flows from a society fixated on transient youth, forgetting the immense fortitude required to attain such venerable age. And unless you actively assert your voice, you risk a quiet contraction, not because your voice has withered, but because others have ceased to truly listen. I recall Irene, an 86-year-old who volunteered at a local museum. One day, a visitor posed a question to the staff that Irene could have answered effortlessly, having lived through the very historical decade in question. Yet the question bypassed her entirely. When I inquired about her feelings, she offered a polite smile, remarking, "I'm accustomed to it." But beneath that smile lay a profound sadness, the kind that emerges from being perceived as an inert fixture rather than a vibrant flame. But you are not inert. You are not background. You are intrinsically present, still discerning, still contributing, and simply because the world occasionally forgets, it doesn't necessitate your own surrender. So what can you do? You speak nonetheless. You pose the questions, You offer your seasoned insights. You exercise your right to vote. You generously share your stories, even when unprompted. You stand tall, even if your knees tremble slightly. Because each instance you reclaim your rightful space in the room, you serve as a powerful reminder to the world and to yourself that your journey is far from concluded. You are not invisible. You are a living archive, a witness to the epics, a voice that undeniably still matters. And you don't need to bellow to be heard. You merely need to steadfastly refuse to disappear. 5. The ache of regret. When purpose lingers, unredefined. As you venture deeper into your 80s, a peculiar quietude often descends, not merely within your dwelling or your daily planner, but profoundly within your very being. Life slows. The calendar's pages are less crowded. And with this newfound spaciousness comes room for profound introspection. Space to recall, to reflect, to re-examine. This can be immensely beautiful. Yet if left unguided, it can transmute into something heavy. Not the loud, dramatic kind of sorrow, but the quiet, persistent kind. The "I wish I'd spent more time with them" kind. The "why didn't I seize that opportunity when it was present" kind. The type that manifests when you possess an abundance of time, yet frequently lack the requisite energy or freedom to pursue endeavors once indefinitely postponed. This particular aspect of aging seldom graces public discourse. We celebrate the inherent wisdom of maturity, the liberation of retirement, the boundless joy of grandchildren, and all these facets are undeniably real. But equally real is the lingering question that frequently remains unspoken. What now? If your entire existence has been dedicated to toil, nurturing, constant motion, raising families, and selfless service, only for it all to cease, it can feel as though your very purpose is dissolving alongside it. I knew Stanley, an 88-year-old who had dedicated over 4 decades to teaching. After retirement, he felt a justifiable pride, but also a strange, unsettling hollowness. "No one truly needs me anymore," he once lamented. Yet that was an illusion. He simply had yet to discover a new modality for being needed. For purpose does not retire. It merely reshapes itself. Perhaps you no longer construct physical dwellings, but you meticulously build confidence in your great-grandchildren through your sagacious narratives. Perhaps you no longer preside over board meetings, but you lead with quiet presence when another is enveloped in grief. Perhaps you no longer resolve grand societal dilemmas, but you alleviate loneliness with a genuine smile offered to a solitary neighbor. The insidious danger of regret isn't that you've committed errors. We all have. It's the prolonged dwelling upon them without endeavoring to transform them into something meaningful. But when you reframe purpose, not as mere productivity, but as profound presence, you begin to grasp that you still possess an immeasurable bounty to offer, not solely to others, but profoundly to yourself. For the most significant work you will undertake after 80 may not be for an enduring legacy or public acclaim. It may simply be this: awakening each day with kindness in your heart, unquenchable curiosity in your gaze, and sufficient courage to humbly inquire, how might I illuminate a small corner of the world today, even if just a little? That is not regret. That is a quiet, profound redemption, and it is never too late to unearth it. Final reflections. Reaching your 80s is an extraordinary achievement. It stands as a testament, forged over decades of profound love, heartbreaking loss, relentless effort, ceaseless change, and unyielding resilience. Yet with this profound strength come new challenges. Some are subtle, almost imperceptible. Others demand unflinching confrontation. Facing these realities doesn't signify weakness. It signifies honesty. It means you've lived long enough to perceive life in its unvarnished essence, unpredictable, occasionally unfair, but nevertheless profoundly worthy of your continued engagement. So which of these 5 indelible realities resonated most deeply with you? Was it the encroaching silence as your social sphere gently contracts? The frustration born of a body that no longer recuperates with its former vigor? The discomfort of accepting assistance when you've spent a lifetime as the unwavering helper? Or perhaps it was that unsettling sense of invisibility that arises when the world accelerates past you? Or the quiet ache that grows when your sense of purpose feels momentarily obscured? Whatever your experience, I hope you felt truly seen, because the fundamental truth is you are not alone in any of this. Not in the gradual deceleration, not in the moments of subtle forgetting, not in the questions that linger in the quiet of night, nor in the instances that stir you to ponder what lies ahead. And here is the liberating news. Even now, even at this venerable stage, you retain the power of choice. You can choose connection. You can choose rest. You can choose to ask for help. You can choose to speak with quiet conviction when overlooked, and with profound grace when another is in need. You can choose to extend forgiveness to yourself for what never came to pass, and to deeply honor yourself for everything that did. This chapter of life is not an ending. It is the profound heart of the story, the segment where every word carries immense weight, the period where subtle gestures eclipse grand ones in significance, the time when your presence, your patience, your unique perspective, these become your most potent sources of power. Thank you for joining us today. We genuinely welcome your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one insight you gained today and how you envision applying it in your own life. Your contributions are invaluable to us. Please don't hesitate to share. Reading your comments provides immense motivation and encouragement. If you found this discussion insightful and helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support empowers us to continue creating meaningful content designed to inform and inspire you. We appreciate you watching, and we eagerly anticipate connecting with you in our next video.